Welcome to the Liberteach Africa series program by African Justice Media. And in the Liberteach Africa series, we shall be discussing with several people who have ideas that could take Africa to the next level. According to the World Bank, over 433 million Africans live in extreme poverty. And among the 433 million Africans, majority of them live in the sub-Saharan Africa. What could be wrong? Is Africa short of ideas? Well, in our subsequent discussions, we shall be discussing these ideas. In this show, we shall be discussing issues of African development. My name is George Justice Kanyehamba, and I will be your host in the Liberteach Africa series. And welcome to the show. And in our first episode, we shall host Mr. Mwesige Jorame, and he is a libertarian capitalist working with a think tank.
I'm Jorame Mwesige. I work with Action for Liberty and Economic Development as administrative officer. I am a libertarian, anarchist, and objectivist. The philosopher that inspired me much these days is Ayn Rand. Objectivism. That lady inspired me so much. And the other one is Frederick Bastiat, the author of The Law.
Okay, sure. Talking about libertarianism, what is so important about libertarianism and anarchism? Let's begin with libertarianism.
Oh, libertarian is it's a philosophy about liberty. Of course, liberty is all about life. Actually, liberty, if there is no existence of liberty, people will be, I think, in misery. We shall be seeing an happy world. Of course, we shall see the world that is not developed. People will be there, and the world will be stagnant. For example, there will be no innovation. Free people with liberty are, of course, the one who have that ability to innovate, to invest and do what they believe. It's people with liberty that are happy. People who are restricted, of course, don't have liberty. People who are dictated, people who are under dictatorship don't have liberty. So, people who have liberty have life. They have a happy life, they have wealth, because it's that liberty that gives people economic freedom to invest and do all that work they do. All the innovation you see, it's all about liberty, to invest, to prosper, and do what all they do.
All right then. How does liberty relate to environmental conservation and issues of not degrading the environment? As a libertarian, how does really liberty contribute to environmental protection and to say that we have environment that is not degraded?
Of course, liberty is about responsibility. When you are living in an environment, you must take that responsibility of protecting the environment. And if the tone of responsibility fails, as libertarian we believe in rule of law. There must be a set rule of law, of course, to guide on that. In case if someone with responsibility fails. But wherever in the world, what we see today, things owned by individuals, private individuals, and private property, of course, gives that protection to the environment. People tend to conserve their environment when personally, of course, when individually, when properties are in the hands of the individuals. For example, if I own a forest, I will always guard it. Of course, I will always guard it. Unlike those which are communal owned or owned by the government, people do not care because they don't regard expenses. Taking care of them, they do not own them directly, they don't regard anything directly related to the impact resulting from such a, of course, wastage or destruction. So people who are not responsible, we shall need to apply the rule of law. But people in liberty movement have a tendency of responsibility. Liberty with a responsibility. Yes, that's what we believe.
In the understanding of liberty, as you say, is about giving every individual freedom, every individual having the liberty to do as they please. Doesn't that really create a permissive society? Do you want to create a permissive society or something like that? What principles do libertarians really believe in?
I told you.
And in relation to permissiveness?
I told you. Liberty comes with responsibility. Liberty without responsibility, that will create a state where we shall apply the rule of law. And of course the rule of law we shall mean the moral law. It's not all about law. Of course you've seen laws operating which are not, they are legal but they are not moral. So for the libertarian, believe in moral law, not legal law. Because we see people using law to violate the liberty of other people or actually exploit or plunder others. We shall look at the law system where morality actually lives on. But what we are talking about, we shall look at the society guided by responsibility and the rule of law. And of course, that's why we see some people will use the law sometimes. We shall see the government taking the law and violate other people. That's why we shall look at the limited government in the process. The government must be limited to the extent that it must not cross a certain border. People must remain with the means of protecting their liberty and overthrowing the government if necessary when the government tries to go away from the power of the people. That's what I believe.
Africa is one of the poorest continents in the world. Why is Africa so poor yet it has the resources? And how does really liberty, does it really contribute to economic development of Africa?
Yeah, liberty is very important. Only that liberty, it gives freedom to trade. It gives freedom to trade. It gives freedom to do what people are willing to do. But what people have failed to take on is they have failed to use the opportunity, the available opportunity. Africa has been in wars. Africa has been experiencing diseases. Actually, wars and all. You see, like in Uganda, there have been that change of regime which has not been stable. And in the process, there have been a lot of destruction of resources. So that one kills, of course, production. It kills innovation and all the resources that will be used to create wealth. Africa has failed to develop technology because of that. There has been a tendency of misuse of resources by those who are in power, and of course if we were to look at Amin came and whatever violated property right. When you violate property right, of course the incentive to produce, of course to carry on work is always violated and people will be discouraged to go on with production.
Talking about that very point of technology, does Africa need to focus on technology, or it has to look at the strength of its continent and its people, the human resource? Should Africa adopt technology, or it should rather look at other departments or factors?
No, of course there must be a comparative advantage. Adam Smith said, in the words of creating wealth, there is what we call specialization. If Africa needs to concentrate on what it does better, for example, it can, but Africa cannot do that without wealth. Of course, money to buy technology. In case if they buy technology and concentrate in agriculture, for example, they must have money first. They must work hard, get money, then they can opt for technology, buying technology from elsewhere. That's what I believe. They have to create wealth and then specialize in what they can do best. Because we see the world is a market today. You can easily acquire technology from elsewhere. When you are actually Africa can exchange products like agriculture products, of course forest products, and of course get technology. But we have a lot of mineral here which can be sold elsewhere and get money and then buy technology. But that's what I see. And that one can be achieved when wealth is created here in Africa. Of course you'll not talk about getting technology when you don't have wealth. That's what I believe.
Okay, thank you for honoring our invitation to be hosted on the Liberteach Africa Series show, hosted by African Justice Media. And as we wind up, what other word what could you advise to people out there? What is your advice as a libertarian?
As a libertarian, they must know we believe in rule of law, we believe in individual liberty, free market capitalism. Free market capitalism has a bad perception in Africa. People have failed to understand this. Capitalism means trade, owning resources, creating industries, which industries employ people, which industries give jobs, which create wealth actually, which gives people quality goods and services. So I implore people to look at free market ideas as the best option, which can give people liberty to invest and of course prosper. People should join the libertarian movement in Africa and in Ghana in particular, so that they can explore and actually discover the power of free market ideas. We are not going to be restricted, we are not going to be limited by, of course, socialist ideas. Socialist idea is about exploiting from one side and giving to the other. Because liberty gives everyone opportunity to explore his experience, his ability, his energy, and of course give something to the market, and in the process of exchange, everyone will get what someone cannot do, of course, in the free market.
The president of Uganda is actually talking about capitalism and how the capitalists made him enter a net that actually doesn't explain well, that they made him to enter a net in the name of privatization, and now he is regretting. But you as a capitalist, and you trying to paint a good picture about capitalism, so how does that relate? What is your comment about that? That privatization actually destroyed jobs from people working in the market. What is your comment about that?
You need to know what is seen and what is not seen. The people in the government always fight about existence and where they get resources to maintain the status quo. So you ask them, who actually created the wealth of the nation? Is it the socialists or the capitalists who invest and have means of production? It's of course the capitalists. For those in power, they always want to, of course, mobilize resources to help them get a voice and of course give free services to the people so that they can maintain their legitimacy. That's what I believe. But those people who create the wealth of the nation, it's always those who own the means of production and of course the resources. So the capitalists, they are condemning, of course they are taking power from those who are claiming that they want to serve the people. But it's those factories, own of those resources that are giving people jobs, are producing wealth, giving quality goods and services that are helping that economy to grow and prosper. That's what those people are trying to fight.
So we be according to a study according to the International Labour Organization, it shows that actually capitalism is being driven on the instincts of selfish interest, and where you find that there is a gap that is going to be created in the world, the poor will become more poor, and you find that the world's economies, the money in the world is owned by actually 4 people. The smallest. How are you going to create really that kind of prosperity among all the individuals, yet others are becoming so poor others so rich?
That's not right. And that is the misconception I was talking about. Selfishness is a tendency by every individual. And everyone is driven by that self-motive. To invest, to do everything, you must have a factor that drives you. So, capitalism has been in existence and it is going to be in existence. Do you know why? The reason is everyone has that motive to invest. To the extent that if you look at those people claiming abusing that capitalism is going to take away wealth to few people and of course create wealth, that is a lie. And of course capitalism creates wealth, it does not even create poverty. If you look at the 60s, wealth has been increasing because some people have been employed somewhere by certain individuals. And capitalism creates wealth, of course. When in the process of those people who create, those individuals who establish factories and all that, in the end of the day, they create jobs, they create goods and services of high quality, and in the process, those people who are employed, of course, they create more jobs. They give, for example, if you employ a manager, if I employ managers, regional managers as big corporates who has very many branches. Those managers will employ other people, and in the process, of course, the economy will develop and prosper.
Okay, lastly, working with the libertarian think tank, Action for Liberty and Economic Development, how understanding very well that the things you're talking about need to be policies, and policies are implemented by those in government, those who have power, those who can influence. How are you going to implement the libertarian policies?
The libertarian policy,
as a think tank?
As a think tank, we are looking at the younger generation. We are not fighting much to look into how the parliament should influence, how we should influence the parliament or the policy maker. If that one we do it, but not at a certain higher degree, we are looking at influencing the younger population, the younger generation, by educating them about